All right, mod collection time. Whoa, wasn't expecting that. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. That's a humorous reenactment of what I went through this morning, thinking I'm coming to shop guitars, and then bam, the intercourse party of the morally subjective by Slash. Now, he's part of Gibson's record label, so it makes sense that they're putting it on there, but it was certainly a surprise. And then, hey, before we get into our new offerings, looks like we got a new model 58335 reissue. Looks like it's just a recreation of the first year of the 335, and they're limiting them to 130 instruments of each finish. So we've got the Faded Tobacco Burst, beautiful dirty blonde, and then a light age tri-burst. That's a little bit less expensive because they didn't go as heavy on the aging. If anybody wants to do Guitar Day one of those, sure, we can do it. I wasn't that interested till I read 130 of each. They've got the long guard of the law. Another newsworthy topic, Gibson's website's changing. Last week we started to see some individual photos of guitars, and I said, the layout feels a little bit clunky now. So it seems like they're working on it. I don't think they're quite there yet, but we can now filter it by Gibson, Gibson Custom, all the different kinds of colors, and the price ranges. And most importantly, we've got new arrivals and other sorting tactics. With how many different models there are now, I can see why they're doing that, but I feel it's time to get rid of some of these. Like, these aren't available anymore. Can't really get the Billie Joe Armstrongs or the original Rick Beatos. Definitely not the VOS Adam Jones or the Gold Rush. But they do have a more visible in-stock availability that kind of helps with that, but I feel like that should be the default, or discontinued models give their own section. Wondrous views from the past. Because I'm all for not getting rid of the original product pages. That's great for history. But as a consumer, it does get kind of confusing when shopping. But news updates aside, let's crack into the mod collection. Here is The Grass is Greener Standard 50s. Being offered at $3,400, there's a few different ways you can look at this. Hey, dads like guitars. The grass is starting to turn green now. Almost mowing season before we know it. So dead grass, green grass. Yeah, I could see a mowing aficionado or a John Deere guy loving this. But I also see it as kind of a St. Patrick's Day guitar. Got your leprechaun green, his gold, all the other good stuff. These half and half guitars are fascinating to me. But I'm always let down that they don't do it on the back. Now, if we adjust the contrast, it looks like we have some sort of like a metallic red finish, so yes, it is cool. They're calling it metallic bronze. But there was a reissue once done as half burst, half gold top, and I always wanted the back to also have the associated colors with it. But now check this thing out. Gold Moonlight Mist. I saw this $2,200 price tag. Holy cow, that's a steal for a custom shop. But with due diligence, I go through the photos and go, oh no, that's a Gibson USA style serial number. What model could this be? Then it hit me. This is a custom color Rick Beato. Likely one of the red ones since they decided to do additional runs of that. Those are $2,000 brand new. And it's a very popular model, so $200 premium for a custom color one of those? That was a fantastic deal for someone, because it's got an interesting shoreline gold vibe, but then you get the black stripes, which I get it, maybe not for everyone, but it's unique, it's different. What would have 100% sold me on this if they would have upgraded it to a gloss finish. But it's satin, they match the headstock on the other side, and now the back got fun. So it looks like the neck is a slightly goldier shade of gold, but they continued the design onto the back. You also have the half-extended stinger. So that was a super win for someone. But I like this next one. It's a Gibson SG Standard 61 in the Pearlple finish. They've done that before. It's $2,500. Light, playful, angelic. Where have we seen this before? The SG Muse in Purple Passion Metallic. 10 in cover only, no pick guard, kind of a purpley finish, a little under $500. This is essentially the Gibson equivalent of it, but maybe a little bit more Easter colored. The pick guard is see-through instead of being non-existent. And abalone toppers onto the translucent knobs. Nice touch. The headstock looks like they swapped over our tuners, gave us a new truss rod cover. The back's a lot of fun, so they left it the natural neck with only the colored body. Now normally I'd be like, nah, lame. But on an SG, it's kind of cool because it harkens back to the late 60s Melody Maker SGs. And that finish is really cool. So it's like a purple undercoat with a pearlescent blue coat. So that's why it's called Pearlple. Certainly tempting. But check it out, Beach Blast is back on a standard 60s, $3,200. This finish just looks so tasty, like it's a creamy yogurt with a little bit of blue flavoring that you still need to mix in. And they've matched that with the plastics. And then the blue of the finish is pulling out the blues in the Gibson mother of pearl logo. Then the back they left primarily alone till you get to the headstock, where they gave you an extended stinger in yogurt burst again, but look at that serial number. I like the way that they did that. They've got a little bit of blue in all the numbers, so it's still legible. And here's a cool side profile shot that shows you the natural mahogany on the edges versus what you're gonna see. I can concede that it's not gonna be for everybody, but it's interesting to look at. But one of my favorite offerings this week, check this out, a custom color Korina Explorer. These things are 10 grand new, so $7,800 is an okay price on one of those. But I've been knocking the solid color ones in the past because it's like, if you have Korina, you'll wanna see the wood grain. So this one, they gave you the custom color and the grain, the best of both worlds. Get Hannah Montana in here. And it's just such a beautiful shade of blue. And they didn't skimp at all. Complete refinish, full on gloss, this one's a winner. Although the headstock on this one, I'm unsure. Do you guys think they sprayed the Gibson logo very lightly, or was that the muse of this operation? Whatever the reasoning, it's only about 9 pounds, not too bad. This one had a funny name, Glam-shell. For $4,000 might be a bit of a hard sell, but it's got a fun little story, you know, Glam-shell playing off of a clamshell. They've got the little pearl pick guard, although I think it would have been infinitely cooler had they put it inside the F-holes or like cover the F-holes in the pearloid material. But it appears to be like a satin pink finish, with once again a bit of a pearlescent coat turning blue and a natural neck with a hardshell case. And now we start to get into the off-topic ones. They're a little bit darker and meaner than the other offerings. Oxblood Metallic, standard 50s at $2,800. Looks kinda similar to what Mark Morton has been playing, but nice. It's actually a burst color, and the Oxblood isn't so dark that you can't see it. I do like this one. It looks like an ebony back. Kind of a unique pearl logo on that one. It almost has like a blue to pink fade. That one is just natural colors, I believe. And blink and you would miss it, it's got the old 2014 style notch speed knobs. Next up, believe it or not, this is a true 59 reissue in Fire Tea Burst. Offered at $5,500, so a little bit more than a $1,000 discount. Not a very traditional finish, but it's got a nice flame top. It's the black plastics that make this thing look strange. Personally, I think I would put the pick guard on. Pretty traditional on the back, much more of a light aniline dye stain. I enjoy that. Everything looks okay from the headstock, except for our missing silk screen. But then they hit you with the wham bam kablam. It still has Clusen tuners, but it's the waffle backs. That's cool. That was a very late production 2023. Billiards is cool, so we've got a Pool Shark Sparkle, $3,100, standard 60s. I would assume it's kind of a sparkly tabletop green color, which seems to hold true on the front and back. However, if I could offer a suggestion, while tricky, I think it would have been cool if they would have left the sides natural and inlay certain parts with small dots in mother of pearl, you know, to mimic the stereotypical table. I mean, you could make the argument that the fretboard is doing that too, but substituting that for either small dot inlays or sometimes you'll see the triangular ones, that would be cool, but that takes a lot more work to convert inlays. That one was offered at $31. And then we can finish things up with another Explorer, non-custom shop this time, in Dark Star Blue for $32. Appears to be a satin refin in just a really deep blue finish, as the name suggests, with the added bonus of a matching headstock. And that was a complete refin, but they spared the backplate. That wraps things up with the USA side. Now let's check out the European side. They had 4 new offerings, including Electric Eggplant 61 SG. Adjust our contrast. Yep, it's aubergine purple. Pearloid truss rod cover with a matching backplate and same finish here. I wasn't sold until this photo. You can tell that's a really nice gloss refin at €2,200. This next 70s Explorer is pretty cool. Not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. Hojo Kois? Whatever it is, it's blue. It reminds me of a custom color out of the 80s called Bahama Blue. You don't see it very often, and it ages into a darker blue, but you kind of get the gist from this one. And they did a complete refin on it, so that one's cool in my book. Then Reptile Perimeter. Seems to be like a almost no burst, just a little bit on the edge, as the name implies, but they upgraded it with the TP6 tailpiece, gold hardware. But whoa, interesting choice with the blue Gibson logo. Now I know that one's been painted. And I like this. So it looks like they took down the original red back, but there was still some staining within the wood. The trans green kind of plays off of that. I enjoy that. Really cool wood grain on the edge too. And wow, that finish is bright with additional lighting, but that was offered at $32. And lastly, Bubble Mint Green. Looks tasty, especially with P90 pickups. And a natural back and sides. But now let's check in with our demo shop friends. Still nothing out of the overseas shops. But Gibson USA has additional eye candy for us tonight. And when I say that, I mean a whole bunch. It was an entire full page of uploads, 2 to 3 times more than we usually get each and every week. This is what stood out to me. Regular hummingbird, right? Nothing crazy. $3,900. No. We've got an abalone rosette with matching abalone inlays. I have never seen that on a hummingbird. That is some insanely blue shell. I'm not really sure if it works. But then again, the first time I saw a Les Paul with abalone, I thought it was ugly. I'd never heard of that particular version. Cause yeah, sure enough, rosewood back and sides. This thing is cool enough for a review. To follow that up, it's just a regular black SG Standard, $1,400. Why am I showing it to you? It's because of a strange spec choice. It's a locking set and appears to be stock. I'm not quite sure what the story is on that. Factory mess up, or did they change them? It's officially listed as a modification. Next for $5,200, it's a '59 reissue in Royal T-Burst. Hear me out, guys. It's not the top we all envision in our head when we order something, but I wouldn't be upset. It's so unique. In a world full of monster tops, sometimes it's nice to have something like this. And I bet it's got good movement in person, which is the equivalent to, I bet they've got a great personality. Who cares what the guitar looks like as long as it plays nice? And it looks like they're toning down the aniline dyes. But I've been saying that for a while now. This next one in Golden Poppy Burst, I about fell out of my seat. It's $5,400 and a more so traditional top that people are after. But look at that back. It's like a melted crayon. It's so spooky. I love it. I suppose you could see like a fox's head right here. So like that's its nose, then it comes up to its eye. And then your other eye's right there. And he's wearing like a crown, or maybe that's a lightning strike. That's a super heavily dyed one, so maybe it just depends on the finish. But someone needs to buy that. Then there was one of the Lucille Legacies. It's been a while since we talked about those. If you're interested in learning more, you can check out this review and demo when I did a cool mod collection version, which is actually for sale on Reverb at Eddie's Guitars. It must have got traded in or something. And then there were like 5 double necks thrown into the custom shop. We just had the Jimmy Page one come out, but this is not Jimmy Page spec. You don't have the long tail piece. Commenters pointed out to me that the 6-string side doesn't have the dot in the eye, but the 12-string does. I've never noticed that before. Why? I don't have the answer for you, unfortunately. But this one's got all the VOS gunk. Then I specifically picked this other one out because it did not have it, which is a nice clean look. There was what I thought was a classic, but no, it's one of those modern studios. Except for they threw a pick guard on it and gave it gold hardware. At least it's a discount. I didn't know how to feel about this one. SG Custom, modified to have zebra bobbins. No pick guard here, but a white tenon cover. Yeah, sure enough, full-on SG Custom through and through elsewhere. Kind of an interestingly modified 70s model Flying V. I like the aged white look right here with the natural finish and the binding. Then the headstock, they give it a black truss rod cover. And here's what the back looks like. And I saved the best for last. Somebody finally did it. This had to have been a custom order that went wrong and they had to remake it. This is a '68 Les Paul custom reissue in Factory Burst. It's one of my favorite colors. I've got that NAMM show display piece in my collection. I've always wanted to see it on a custom. I've thought about ordering it myself, and here it is. But somebody like Ace Frehley-ified it by having the cream plastic stock. It's got the ABR1, the perfect kind of top. And yeah, sure enough, 68 reissue, meaning you've got the chrome tuners, and they decided to go with waffle backs, and the white backplate with the creamed out everything else. Yeah, something about it just says Ace to me. Even if it doesn't have the DiMarzios, but you could easily make that happen. And route it for a third one if you wanted to. Alright, Troglodytes, that's all for this week. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.